What is going on, YouTube? I'm your West host, and today I'm going to be talking about something that is going to seem like I'm a little bit late to the game on, but I promise that's not the case. Just bear with me. Today I want to be talking about what you should be doing in Dragon Ball Z Dokkan Battle, be it global or JP. This is much more impending for JP, but it's definitely very relevant to global. I myself have been finding myself asking questions like, what should I be doing right now? The game's dead, there's nothing to do, I hate the World Tournament, blah, 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 blah. And then I started thinking about the LR Goku EZA. Now, as a global player mainly, I have not seen it in the news. I've not looked too much into it. I know you have to use 6 units. I know they'll have to be rainbowed and EZA'd, and I believe SA15, though I've not seen confirmation on that. So I know there's a lot to kind of prepare for. And what I think people don't realize is that 5 of the 6 of the units you see here will have to go through EZ areas, which are also a lot of content to prepare for, and I'll explain why here in a little bit. But let's go ahead and take a look at kind of what I'm talking about. So this is a really rough translation of the Japanese announcement of the Extreme Z Awakening of this LR Goku, who when he released at the 1.5 year anniversary, was definitely one of the best cards in the game. He had the exact same leader skill as STR Gogeta at the time, which was the definitive lead for everyone until the 70% leads came out. And he was a, excuse my language, bitch and a half to try and grind. His final stage, which is now 25 stamina, was 50 stamina. Each unit you could use had to be a super strike unit, so you could not use any free-to-play unit like you can now. It had to be super strike, and their leader skills did not coalesce that well, which is a huge problem. Their links were also really bad, and if I'm not mistaken, on the last stage you couldn't you couldn't use stones to continue the stage. You just kind of had to take your loss. Obviously your HP was much lower because you didn't have an HP increasing lead. I think the ultimate strategy became using chilled, but he wasn't available until much later after the original drop. And it was just really difficult. The drop rates for cards were terrible. There was obviously no category bonuses because the concept of categories didn't exist back then. It was just very interesting. It was very difficult. It's probably one of I think a lot of players' worst memories and worst grinds, but it's very much gotten easier over time, with the boost function, with category boosts. So it's really exciting to see that he's getting an EZA because he's going to finally be relevant. To tell you how hard it was, because I grinded him up when he first came out, I think mine is still SA 10 out of 20 because I just hated that grind so much. I can tell you here in a sec, but it was terrible. So I want to kind of go ahead and hit the ground running on this. Yeah, mine is 10 out of 20. Hit the ground running and kind of get ready and prepare because there's a lot to do. So these 6 units are the units you're going to have to use. And we'll go ahead and take a look at each one, which is kind of what I wanted to do. So right here, we're going to start with Fusion Android 13, who is definitely the oldest unit in the game by far. You get him from grinding up an SR Tech Android 13 from the story, or the game story, sorry, not the story event. And that is a pain to get. It's a pain to get the medals, it's a pain to get him. You have to grind up 1 copy, and then you can buy 4 others in the Baba shop. The problem that's going to put you in is that you're going to have to awaken this guy, you're going to have to EZA this guy, but then you're also, after you put the 4 dupes you can buy from the Baba shop, you're still going to need an additional copy of this guy to get him to SA15 if you don't want to use Kai's. So it's going to put you in a place where one of the most annoying grinds in the game is this guy right here, and you're going to have to get him, and you're going to spend a lot of time doing it if you want to get him to SA15, which I recommend. Always, give yourself a little bit of an extra buff because you definitely don't want in these difficult events. I'm assuming this is going to be just as difficult as it was when LR Goku first dropped. So, I'm going to recommend to everybody, make sure he's SA15, make sure he's Rainbow. I know that it's going to be a little difficult in Orbs right now, but it's worth it. Go ahead and get him up all the way. I've not done this guy yet. I know he's a pain in the ass. So just, be ready with this guy because he's very important. And he's probably got the easiest EZA event because you only need the Ginyu Force category team. But if you don't have the Ginyu Force category team built up, you weren't playing during, I think, the 3rd year anniversary, guess what? You got to get the Ginyu Force team built up. You got to invest Kais in the LR Ginyu Force, because it's really hard to beat that event without some, investment in the LR. It's a really big pain just to get this guy all the way easy aid, SA 15, all that kind of good stuff. And all he's going to have is 4 key and 80% attack and defense, which is not great given his stats. So that's going to be your lowest point on the team is going to take one of the most tedious grinds, in my opinion. This one's going to be rough for me because I don't have anything with him. I didn't get him when he first came out because when I started playing around Tech Cell, and to me, he wasn't worth the grind when Tech Cell dropped. So, I have not gotten this guy yet. He is going to be fun to get. So, looking forward, the next unit I want to take a look at is going to be this Frieza right here. Now, he's really surprising for a lot of reasons. First off, because this unit was dead for, almost over 4 years now. Because when he first dropped, he was kind of relevant, but kind of was about it. And then they brought him back, and with his Easy A, he's amazing. He's definitely going to be the MVP of the event. They might switch up the typing for the LR Goku. I wouldn't be surprised if they do, just because they did on the 4th stage of his event. So I wouldn't be surprised if he's like STR, AGL, Int maybe. But it's not going to matter with this guy because he will have guard activated against all attacks, and he's going to give people 2 key and attack and defense plus 20%. That's going to be huge because he's also going to reduce damage by 50%. If there was a way you could run 2 of these as a leader, that would be fantastic. But it's probably not going to be possible, unfortunately, especially considering the units you have to bring, which sucks. So we'll talk about his Extreme Z area in a little bit, but just getting him is difficult because he drops as an SR. And what you have to do to get him is you have to get him as an SR, get your 10 copies, awaken him, awaken 4 other SRs to SSR, like this Frieza, then put them in for the dupe system, awaken him to UR, then Dokkan awaken him, then the Extreme Z awakening, except what? You got to get 5 more SRs, awaken them all the way to TUR to feed in for his full SA 15 super attack. So this is a grind, and it's not like you don't get guaranteed drops of this guy when you go through the full power Frieza event. The only thing good is that he drops from like a 12 stamina stage now, so it's not too bad on your stamina to get him, but I'll tell you right now, it's a pain in the ass. It's definitely not a fun grind. It'll take you an afternoon or a couple days to get it all the way through. Full power Frieza event, for whatever reason, only comes around 2 times instead of 3 times a week, like a lot of others, because they don't count the LR as requiring medals from that event. So it's going to take you a while. It's going to take you a long while to get this guy built up. And kind of next to him right here is this Raddatz, who's probably the easiest, I would say, to get all the way, until we get to his Extreme Easy area, which we'll talk about here in a little bit. Most people already have him because his event does come around every World Tournament, and then it'll be back. And his Extreme Z Awakening is not horrible. It's not bad when you fight 2 or more enemies, but it's just not, who cares? It's Raddatz. His tech version is much better, but he does have prepared for battle. His links aren't bad in general. He's on some good teams. He's definitely going to be the easiest because he does drop as a base SSR. I remember the drop rates being pretty decent for this. So he's not, the worst to grind up out of all of them. I would argue that he's probably definitely the easiest. You've probably already got him if you've been playing for a while. I don't know that I still have my copy. I need to check. Kind of while I'm running through and making a tab for myself to see what I need to go for. Okay, I've already got him rainbowed, which is nice, but I gotta get a second copy to SA5. I did give him full crit, that's good. So I'm lucky that I already have him rainbowed because I definitely didn't want to do any more of this than I had to. But he's gonna be a pain to get all the way done. Then you've got Zamasu Goku is coming for part of the 5-year anniversary, and this guy is worth it in general. He's an LR EZA, so it's very fitting that he's going to be useful on the LR EZA. He's very easy to get all the way through. You do have to get him all the way up to LR, which can take a minute, and you're going to need to get 3 copies all the way up to LR, so that's going to take a minute. His Extreme Z area isn't bad if you've got the summonable units to do it, and he himself can be really helpful. So can his TUR version if you need a good TUR Zamasu. So he's really not a bad idea. You just have to get a lot of copies of him. And I mean, luckily there is a increased drop rate on his event, which helps, but it's just going to take forever to get him all the way done. Now we'll have, reduced stamina refresh as part of the 5-year anniversary. It'll slowly trickle him out, so you don't have to rush or anything like that, but it will be kind of a pain to get him all the way completed. And last but certainly not least is the Lord Slug. No, not the least. Or not the last. We've got one more. Is Lord Slug, who, was very random. I don't know why they brought him back. With a sticker effect, I'm sure he'd look pretty good. I haven't seen it yet, but I'm sure he'd be pretty decent. He's pretty solid, after his EZA, if you're facing multiple enemies. And he gets that heal, so he's going to be very helpful. Definitely probably your second most useful or third most useful unit. He's kind of tied, in my opinion, with Zamasu Goku. He's going to be very interesting. He's not that bad. He does drop as an SSR. He does only go up to TUR, so it's pretty easy to get him all the way done. His drop rate isn't perfect, but it's not terrible. I don't know if they refreshed with a category buff in that event. I'd look, but I don't want to take the time. I don't want to waste too much of your time, to be honest with you. But he's definitely not a bad option. You got plenty of time to do it. I think his event will come back as part of the 5-year anniversary. If not, it's one that comes back pretty frequently, if I remember correctly. So I wouldn't worry too much about him. He's pretty easy to get all said and done. His Extreme Z area, though, is not. And we'll touch on that in a little bit. And last but certainly not least is probably the second most pain in the ass out of all of them, which is his cooler. Because each copy of him takes so many battlefield gems. I think it's like 200, 300. And you have to get 5, 6 copies of him, which is a real pain. I mean, you're damn near better off using Kai's to get his SA up. I mean, you are better off, I'm sorry. It would take you prohibitively long to get all of the copies of him for SA. There is an SR that drops of him pretty frequently from banners, so you could save those up as a way to cheese your way through it, but I don't even have 1 copy of this guy, if I'm not mistaken. I'll go ahead and take a look while I'm talking, but he is going to be a pain. Now, if we do get more like Dragon Ball wishes, which I think we'll get, I don't have a copy, by the way, we'll definitely get some more incredible gems, which help. But if you've got time, especially considering they're going to be rank up on global, grind this guy out. You've got reduced stamina, you've got increased rank, EXP, so yeah, this guy is definitely one. When you're complaining that you're bored during the 5-year, you got, his SA is farmable. That's a game changer. Okay, so definitely get him with these. I forgot about this guy. But yeah, definitely get him with those. But yeah, when you're annoyed at yourself or annoyed at the game because you don't have anything to do, this is one of the guys you're gonna have to grind up. And he stacks defense. That's good. And he's effective against all types. So if this guy has type disadvantage, he's gonna be doing pretty good. 100% attack and defense. Gonna reduce Goku's attack and defense, which I guarantee will carry over. And he's effective against all types. And he's got a 25% or 25 or 30, 25 chance of having his additional attack be a super attack. That's good. Especially if he's in the middle slot and you've got Frieza in the first slot, that's good. So those are all the units you're going to need, which already I've talked about the insane grind you're going to have to do. Except that's not the only grind you're going to have to do. So each of those units you'll have to get full copies of. You'll have to get extra to get them to SA15 because you're going to want them to be SA15 and it might require them. Remember, all of these units have to be rainbow starred. So that we know is a requirement, and I'm pretty damn sure you're going to have them all at SA15. So taking a look further, at these EZA events you're going to have to do. This is the one for Kaioken Goku and Lord Slug. You're going to have to, on your team, already have these two, which is not that big of a deal. I already have the Kaioken Goku rainbow. I'm sure a lot of people did. He was kind of cool when he dropped because he was the only, Kaioken Goku from that event, and he was kind of cool. It wasn't a great unit, but he was interesting. And then this Slug right here, he obviously you're going to have him rainbowed. But look at the units you have to bring. It's such a small roster of options. So LR Krillin takes forever to get. I mean, people downplay how long an LR takes to grind up. It's a while, especially if you're playing casually. It does take a minute. You're going to have him. Luckily, I have mine at SA10. He's fine that way, and that's what I'm just going to keep him as. You'd have to have, if you don't want to grind up these free-to-play options because they're terrible, you're going to need Nail, who's, having Nail is definitely not a bad thing at all. The problem is I don't have any AGL Kais to spare right now. So, you can't really farm him. You can kind of get it with SRs, but you got to awaken him from the event, so you don't have your Nail awoken, like I don't. You're going to have to awaken him. You don't have your Gohan and Icarus awoken, you're going to have to awaken them. You've probably got this card, you might not have Nail. You're going to need these two, as I said before. This Piccolo's been around forever. He's amazing after his EZA. I love that unit. Please, 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 if you have him, Extreme Z awaken him, bring him. I think he's the best lead for this EZA, if I'm not mistaken, because he does give all types 3 key and 77% attack and defense. Then this Lord Slug is pretty good too. He'd fit right along because he does have Shattering the Limit as his key link, which is going to fit in pretty well with everybody. And Piccolo and Nail will kind of carry you through most of the way, with Krillin kind of also putting in that support and work. So it's not a terrible EZA, but look at the free units you're going to have to bring. 1, 2, 3, you're going to have to, and if you don't want to awaken any of these characters, or if you don't have them awoken already, you'll have to awaken them, but if you don't want to do that, you're also going to need these guys. And these are from, if I'm not mistaken, the anniversary coins from the Baba Shop. They're like anniversary units, except for this Piccolo and this Krillin, who are god-awful. Geez, they're just SSRs. Yeah. This is, I didn't even know this was a standalone card. I kind of want to take a look at it real quick. I did not realize this was a standalone, like... Oh, it's with him and Icarus. Okay, that's why. Because this... I thought it was just... Okay. I remember him. Yeah. He's bad. So yeah, that, look at all the units you're going to have to farm up right there. I mean, that's really rough. So taking a look further, that's just one EZA. Then you got this one, which I think is probably the most forgiving Extreme Z area in terms of what you need, because you only have to bring these two, which I will admit are some of the biggest pains to have, EZ8 or Rainbow, all that kind of stuff. But the other units you're bringing are a little bit easier to come by. So this LR, and this LR, everyone, if you've been playing for any stretch of time, should have. LR Meta Cooler was in the Dokkan Battlefield Shop for, I think a couple years now. LR Mecha Cool, Frieza and King Cold came out a couple Battlefields ago. They're really good. I put them at 90% immediately. Now I'm saving my gems for LR, Debora, and Babidi. And this guy is the second. No, he's not the second. He was the third LR to come out. He was the second Prime Battle LR. But I think he was he's the fourth LR to come out total. Because you had Goku, then the androids, then Piccolo, then him. Yeah, he was the fourth. But yeah, he's been out forever. If you don't have him, grind him up. He's super easy. And he's still, of all of the Prime Battle LRs, I think he might have aged the best. Or all the LRs in the beginning. So when he gets his EZA, he's dynamic. These guys just got their EZA. I'll be honest, I'm really bad about not completing the EZA for side event units. They're both amazing. I think for this event, you can't go wrong either way. I always lean towards this guy just because he stacks defense, which is something that I love. But you really can't go wrong either way. This Tech Cooler is not great, but he is, he has been out for a very, very long time. But I don't think you'd ever run either of these guys or these two down here. Mecha Frieza and King Cold need awakenings terribly. They're desperate need, but if you don't have the LRs, they are Super Strike units, so they got rid of the the 100 team cost requirement that was there forever ago, which makes Super Strikes just a lot easier to kind of run through, especially with the boost feature. And chilled in the same boat, and this guy drops from an event, and it's just kind of. But yeah, so this one is probably for the Extreme Z area, one of the most forgiving in terms of what you need. Then of course you have the Raddatz Extreme Z area. Oh, and one good thing about this is that it does Extreme Z awaken 2 of the units you're going to need, which is very helpful because no longer, you don't have to have individual Extreme Z areas for each one. So that's kind of nice. Raddatz Extreme Z area is definitely one that I consider to be one of the most annoying, because unless you have these guys, you're filling up your party with some bullshit. Excuse my language. I don't know why I'm swearing so much. This guy's good, and he will have a Goku family event or category enemy to go against with this Raddatz, which is very helpful. This guy is from a world tournament. He's very old. You probably don't have him. I mean, you might have him in your box, but you definitely don't have anything invested in him. This guy's the old world tournament local ranking LR. He's not terrible. Piccolo's god awful. Krillin is very good. Probably going to be the MVP of the event. I'll probably be running these two. I obviously don't have LR Vegeta and Nappa. LR Piccolo is one of the worst units in the game to be an LR. Or just, I guess, one of the worst LRs in the game is probably a better way to put it. This guy reduces either his attack or defense to 0, so definitely don't want to bring him. This guy's awful. This guy's going to have type disadvantage. This guy, obviously, you're going to have. This guy, I think, is the best leader on the team, if I'm not mistaken. Physical Nappa can be decent. Because he does have type advantage. This Vegeta's not terrible. This Vegeta is terrible. This Goku is terrible. And then this guy, who you have to have. This Nappa. That Nappa takes forever to drop because he's a droppable farmable SR with awakening medals that take forever to get, and he's not a guaranteed drop, and you have to get so many of him. Oh, it's a pain. I hate this Nappa. I just got my first SSR copy. He wasn't good when he first came out, and he has aged horribly. Why they didn't give him a TUR and just awaken him with this Raddatz, I don't know. Why he's required, I don't know. This April Fool's Day Goku, he's going to be good for this event just because he has type advantage. And then these 3. 2 SRs and a rare. I mean, this guy becomes you, but still, wow. What? I mean, why? Yeah, this one's rough. Because I can almost guarantee most people don't have him. Or have him invested. I mean, if you played the game forever ago, you might have your copy. I almost rainbowed him one time just for the hell of it, but it would have taken so long that I just didn't feel like it. It's such a bad choice having him on there as a requirement. That's what I've been working on him recently, and it's just a pain because it's not a fun event to go through. It's really bad. And last but not least, we have the Zero Morals Plan Extreme Z area. Now, this is by far either the easiest or hardest, depending on your box. First off, it has one of the largest category rosters. But 2 of them are free to play. So, that's a problem. I think I might have spoken too soon. Maybe the TUR Zamasu can't be used that I was thinking of. Yeah, that looks right. So I apologize for saying so earlier in the video that you could use him. I thought I did, but no, you have to have this Goku Black, which isn't bad because he's a Time Traveler's category leader skill, and all the units are on Time Travelers. But then you have to have, like, this guy who they gave out for free, and this guy who they gave out for free. So I consider the Super Saiyan Blue EZA Vegeta and the Super Saiyan Rage EZA Trunks, they both gave out for free at one point. So you've got them if you've been playing for any stretch of time. LR Vegeta Blue, definitely a unit that you should have in your box. He's very good. Clearly he's outclassed now by the physical one, but for a while, I mean, he was a toss-up between him and the Tech. The Tech hit much harder, but a lot of people preferred the LR. These guys are brand new, so you probably don't have them, and these 2 are summonable LRs, so I wouldn't expect anybody to have them. But you might, in which case, definitely bring them. Especially Trunks and Mai. This Mai can be okay. I don't think the Zamasu can be stunned, though. Yeah, he can't be stunned. So Mai's effectiveness is, neutered a little bit. This guy's really good for this event. He's not great in general, but he's not terrible either. This guy can be good. He won't have the second part of his passive active, but he's a Fierce Battle STR unit, and your opponent's physical. So, not a bad idea. This Zamasu can actually put in some work. Gowasu and Zamasu are always wonderful. We touched on this guy earlier. Both of these two are great. This AGL Trunks is just the SSR of that, so this is the guy you get from logging in. I get from logging in the 5th year anniversary. Don't worry about him, and the rest of everything is just fodder. Yeah, you could bring Gowasu alone, or this Trunks, but you'd run this one over this one 100 times. So yeah, you can see, with the exception of this event, you've got a lot of grind ahead of you, especially for this guy, and I think Cooler is right here, this guy. So, I mean, people who say there's not much to do or nothing to do, I don't want to tell you, because you've got a ton to do. So I hope this helped people. I hope, I wasn't trying to criticize anybody or anything like that, so I'm sorry if it came across a little negative. I just want to emphasize the amount that we've got to get done for Dokkan Battle, and the amount we can do in the game right now that a lot of people overlook. It's not the most fun stuff, but it is necessary. So if you enjoyed this video, please leave a like down below, and like we always say here on the channel, I hope to see you around sometime.